We're dancing. Oh, guys, there's the layer right there.
Welcome to the Greataxe Club.
Ooh, let's go.
Welcome to Scripted Gaming.
What's up, guys? Border here with Scripted Gaming and the Greataxe Club, and I have started a brand new character on the beaches of Albion on European servers, starting with the Greataxe. As you can imagine, a brand new character is going to need a lot of fame, but thanks to the new Horizons update, we're going to be checking out some of the newer ways to farm fame in 2024. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Our journey began with humble beginnings, from collecting rough logs to banging on rough stone. The main reason I do the tutorial is to collect the 3 days of premium that comes with it from completing the tutorial itself. After crafting our starter gear and infiltrating the heretic fort, we finish the tutorial in record time. So the boat arrives at the dock and we decide where our home city will be, which is Bridgewatch, the home of the Greataxe Club. From there we arrive at the starter town to activate our 3 days of premium, and from there we craft our tier 4 gear and instantly jump into the static dungeons of the blue zone. During this part of the journey, we are accompanied by a fellow member of the Greataxe Club to help us clear through these static mobs a little bit quicker. The goal here was to continue fame farming until we unlock the Expert Reaver in the Destiny board, which will allow us to fight tier 5 mobs, dealing higher damage and taking less damage in return. Before you know it, we unlock Expert Reaver in record time, thanks to the help of our friend. So from there, we head over to Bridgewatch to bind ourselves to the city and head into the Black Zone. But before that, you're probably wondering what build I'll be using in the next part of the video, so let me explain really quick. So before heading into the Black Zone, we'll want to upgrade our gear to at least around 4.1 to give us enough IP to contest the mobs and bosses that we'll be facing, along with the tier 3 riding horse to get along quicker with a cheap option. So we'll start off with the Greataxe. Since we don't have much unlocked, we'll be starting with Rending Spin for AoE purposes, clearing down mobs, and along with Adrenaline Boost for more damage, and that auto attack speed as well. Of course, our E is Whirlwind, and we'll be opting for the first passive. Our helmet will be Scholar Cowl for energy shield with a nice sustain to keep our energy nice and high, along with the first passive as well. For our jacket, we'll be using the Stalker Jacket for electric field, again, more AoE damage, clearing down mobs nice and quick, along with the first passive. For our boots, we'll be using any kind of plate boots for fame farming, as we will be using the second ability, Rejuvenating Sprint, for that heal, along with the second passive. The cape we'll be using is the Thetford Cape, again for AoE damage, clearing down mobs. The potion we'll be using is Poison Potion to help you clear down bosses a little bit quicker or potential empowered mobs that you run into. And the Goat Stew you'll be using is to increase your damage and increase your health regeneration outside of combat. The only two things I'd potentially switch out if anyone needed to potentially need more sustain or a little bit easier of an option, I would change the Stalker Jacket to the Mercenary Jacket for Bloodlust for that heal, give yourself a little bit more sustain and survivability. And you could potentially change your cape in case you don't have enough silver, you could just run a regular cape. Now that we know what build we'll be using, we dive into the Black Zone and into the Black Zone portal town and establish ourselves to see which zone we'll be diving into first. So the zones we'll be going into first are tier 5 Black Zones. Between the build that we just discussed and the tier 5 Reaver that we've unlocked, this will give us enough power and IP to farm open world mobs, specifically empowered mobs. These mobs are glowing gold and have grown in size and will give us much more fame than regular mobs. Since these mobs are only tier 5, they don't have too much health, but be careful, they are empowered so they will deal a little bit more damage. And if you ever need to make a quick escape or just simply reset the mobs, just be sure to keep your mount nearby within that circle, jump on your mount, run away, and let your health regen, and just try again. I continued this method for about an hour, receiving incredible amounts of fame, especially for a brand new character, giving us a great head start. And then we stumbled across a solo Halloween dungeon. And just for experimental sake, I wanted to see what kind of fame we can get from these dungeons, so I hopped in to try it out. And so, I dived deep into the Halloween dungeon with the navigational help of the Greataxe Club community in chat, helping me navigate this very confusing layout of the dungeon, to find out that the mobs we clear out here are not nearly as good in terms of fame that we're farming out in the Black Zone, the empowered mobs. And not to mention, some of the mobs in the Halloween dungeon hit extremely hard, especially for the so-called brittle skeletons. So I wouldn't recommend this method for fame farming only. However, my chat was able to navigate me all the way to Bob, the Halloween dungeon boss. So I switched my Q to Rending Strike for single target and took him head on. We had a little bit of a dance off, took a little bit of damage, but ultimately we were able to defeat him without much trouble. He gave us a decent amount of loot as well as these Halloween candies. These actually give 15% more fame towards our fame farming when we have them active. However, the candies are only good for as long as the Halloween event is active. So when this dungeon is active, I would actually recommend running it at least once for the candies alone, but otherwise I wouldn't recommend it for fame farming itself. So with the Halloween boss completed, we head back out into the open world to farm our empowered mobs, when we see a potential treasure chest uncontested here in the black zone. So we head over just to see if we can get our hands on it. Premium is active. Ooh, let's go, 600 and something K. We're gone. We're gone. We're up to a milli. Let's go. 692k is a ton of silver, especially for a brand new character, allowing us to upgrade our gear and overall just support our economy a bit more. So we head back for sure to the Black Zone portal town and deposit that before doing anything else. Making our way back into the Black Zone comes with the second part of our fame farm, which is the solo encampments, which is a brand new feature with the Horizons update. Similar to the camps in the Mists, you need to clear out enough mobs in these camps to reach 100% on the progress bar of the camp. Then, and only then, can you receive the loot which is located in the chest, roughly around the middle of the camp. Overall, the difficulty of farming these camps for solo is about the same thing as we were doing before, farming the open world mobs. So not only do they give a good amount of fame, but you also get a good amount of loot at the end of completing the camp. If you're ever struggling to find these encampments, just simply open up your local map and look for potential engravings of walls that potentially form a little bit of a camp. I do a little bit of an example here with my cursor to let you know what I'm talking about, and just keep in mind that some of these will be solo encampments and others could be group, so just something to keep your eye out for. The third part of our fame farming journey had us stumble across another new feature of the Horizons update, which is the Keeper Lair Map. Basically, to activate these maps, the only thing you need to do is clear the guarding mobs surrounding the map, and then click on the map itself. Once you do that, you can open up your map and it'll actually show you the coordinates to a solo boss lair. From there, you simply just hunt it down like you would a solo dungeon and jump in the dungeon. Once you enter your solo boss lair, you'll actually find that there's not too many mobs in the dungeon, as these dungeons focus a little bit more on the boss fight itself. So with that said, this method isn't actually great for fame farming, but it actually does provide a pretty significant amount of loot. I believe it does correspond with the tier of zone that you do that in. So since we do a tier 5 here, the boss itself isn't too hard, but the loot is actually pretty good. So this is a little bit more of a side feature that I recommend doing while you're out on your fame farming journey. At this point, I got into a pretty good rhythm of farming lots of fame from these solo encampments and empowered mobs, and got a good amount of silver from those Keeper Lair maps. But it wasn't long until running into another player that was also trying to get his fame from these solo encampments, and that's when this happened. Sorry, hold that thought. Alright, we got him, boys. Had to watch out for the cleric robe there, but we got a good spin. Woo, let's go. First kill, baby. Crap loot, but we'll take it. Let's go. I end up fighting another gentleman having quite low IP, but ultimately we come out on top, resulting in our very first kill on European servers. Between these fame and silver farming methods, we streamed 2 separate sessions here on YouTube, one on Tuesday, one on Thursday, a little under 3 hours, so roughly about 6 hours total, to get our Axe Fighter tree all the way to 60 with this fresh character. So overall, I think this was a really good start, and I'm excited to keep going. I know this might have been quite a bit of information to take in all in one video, so I actually created a little bit of an algorithm for you guys to use that when you need to reference for fame farming and silver farming as well. So this is what it might look like. Once you've unlocked your tier 5 Reaver in the Destiny board, you can then go into tier 5 black zones and farm empowered mobs. While you're there, you should stop for any boss lair maps so that you can capitalize on the loot drops from bosses. Throughout the black zones, you should be clearing all of the solo encampments for the silver as well as the silver drops. And then you should switch zones once all the camps are cleared in your zone. You can simply rinse and repeat this method and watch your silver and fame climb to your enjoyment. Obviously, this was only my opinion and my experience, but I found it to be a pretty effective way of spending my time in the black zone. If you guys can find a better way of farming open world mobs or anything of that nature, definitely let me know in the comments below. So this concludes our first journey on our brand new character on the European servers. If you guys liked it and would also like to receive giveaways in the future, SBI actually bumped me out of the content creator program because I took a little bit of a break. So if you guys want me back in the content creator program and would like to receive 7-day codes of premium and that kind of thing, definitely like and subscribe so SBI can put me back into the content creator program, where I can then give you guys giveaways at the end of every video and at the end of every stream, which we will be streaming every Tuesday and Thursday at 4 p.m. UTC, so Universal Time. But that about does it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this week's video, and I'll see you in the next stream as well as on next Monday for our next weekly video. But until then, stay safe, stay positive, and I'll see you next time. Peace.